over time, I began to think our field is, I'm going to stay in this, I'm going to try and turn it into something. But I did make a conscious decision that we needed to be talking more to the public. It couldn't just be an academic activity, because if you're doing bioethics and are asking questions about, can I use test tube baby technology, or should I fill out an advanced directive living will, or if my grandmom's dying, when do I stop the machines? These are questions that families and the public must grapple with. And I'll make a little insulting comment here. You might think that sometimes those people in religion would help answer some of those questions, but often they weren't prepared, and often they didn't know enough about the medicine to get in there. And that remains an issue to this day. Remains an issue to this day. The other problem is when you come from a particular religious community and you answer questions. I knew at the time, when I taught at the University of Pennsylvania, there was a big Amish community near us. And they had their way of thinking and their way of approaching things, and that was fine, and they could work things out. But you couldn't take the Amish principles and culture and shift it to the average person from New Jersey. They didn't care about that. So you needed some way to talk in a more secularized way about these issues that could cross religions and cultures. You got all these doctors from different backgrounds, you got all these nurses from different backgrounds, you got all these patients and families from different backgrounds. And so bioethics tries to straddle these different communities. It can draw on religion. Remember, I told you it began with religious input. You can see what the arguments are in a particular tradition. Sometimes I'll use something I read about where someone made an argument in the Islamic tradition about something. I think, well, that's a pretty good argument. Let's see if people will buy that one. I'm not particularly interested in that religion. I don't follow it, but I'll pay attention to what has been said in the way of an argument. Sometimes I'm interested in what the law says. But sometimes the law isn't very good because in many areas of bioethics, there aren't any laws. So if I want to clone a human being, as you've heard about people talking about, there's no laws. So often the bioethics these days is the place that gets there first. We begin the arguments a little bit in secular terms, get input from different groups, points of view, and then you see if legislators want to ban it. I think Louisiana already did as a state, or allow it. I think China has said, yeah, it's fine, go ahead, we'll accept it. But you try to motivate legislation or law or policy. That is part of what bioethics does, sometimes internationally, sometimes at the local level. It could be a state law, might even be a city law.